Graham. Graham.
Hey family, how you doing? I'm so glad you all are hanging in here with us. I am here again with my friend Preston Middleton, CEO of Next Wave Films. And like I said, I call him a true political analyst. Let's jump right in, my friend. Let's talk again about Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico, that U.S. Senate. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I have several thoughts about it, starting with the voter suppression tactics that were unleashed on Jasmine in Dallas County, and several people had to go to different polling places. It's just an extension of what the MAGA Republican Party has been doing, along with the governor's assistance, to suppress our vote. It's very unfair to her to have to go through that in her home county. And I'm very distressed by it. And I really think that people should really speak out about it more and really be alerted that going into November, this is what we're going to be dealing with a lot. I think they're very, very distressed because they've been losing these elections in several parts of the country over and over again. And I think the Texas was there. They drew the line in the sand, somewhat to speak, to try to suppress that vote. So that part to me is very distressing. I don't have anything against Tallarico at all. I mean, to tell you the truth, he did a lot to speak up about them banning books here in Texas. I appreciate that, his openness about that and his honesty about that situation. I really appreciate that about him. I will say, I had spoke with people today, and my one question was, Cam, the attack ads that were all over television about Representative Crockett being the best choice for the Republicans to run against. And they were saying, like, they even used an excerpt from one of the popular CNN hosts saying that, she would be the best choice for Republicans to run against. They took that statement of hers out of context. And my one question was the Tallarico campaign involved in that? And I had assurance today from a high source that I trust very clearly that he had nothing to do with that. And that was really my point I really wanted to get clear. And that question was answered. I trust a person emphatically that told me that they had nothing to do with those. That was an independent. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh yeah, I mean, that answered my question and leads me to the thought part that at this point, I know a lot of people are hurt about the situation, about the outcome of the election. I understand that, but really, you need to get really focused. We need to have a real conversation amongst all of us about the fact we need to take control of the Senate. We need that seat. And that's really where the discussion can start with you and I right now about this and be the first one out the gate with this. Because barring anything changing right now, if he's our candidate, we're going to have to bury the hatchet. We need the Senate to change things right now. That's what's really a threat against every living American right now, that we need to have control of the Senate to take this back. We need the House and the Senate to take it back. That's the only way. So if he is going to be our candidate, we need to act like it. And I know a lot of people are hurt, but we can't afford to be hurt right now. We got to come together and really make sure we get that seat. It's crucial right now.
It is crucial, and I'm so glad Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, did say, she conceded, and she said she thanked everybody for what they did. She also spoke about the fact we've got to get behind Tallarico. We've got to get behind the Democrats, and we've got to push just like they pushed for her, push for him. And she was very, cordial about that, and I love that about her. She had 1 million votes and 1.1 million for Tallarico. That's 2 million votes just for that.
And that's very powerful. That's very powerful, Cam. It really is very powerful. And to have the kind of turnout, I was at the polling place. I was so busy working the camp. There were a couple elections I was working closely with, and so I didn't have a chance to vote until yesterday. When I did show up at my voting precinct, it was packed. I have never seen my precinct packed like that. It was very inspiring to me. It was so inspiring. I didn't mind waiting in line. I met some friends there, and everybody
I
was
know,
very
right?
excited. I have new friends now. You know what I mean? I'm sure they're probably watching
Yeah.
right now. But I was very encouraged by the fact because I've been, as you know, you and I talk offline a lot, and I've been very distressed about the fact that we weren't talking to our electorate enough about voting and about the importance of it and how much was at stake. Yesterday
Yes.
reminded me that maybe our efforts, along with all the efforts of all the other influencers online, actually helped. I know people
Yes.
aren't really watching television and legacy media the way they should, but yesterday
Yes.
proved to me, and also the early vote proved to me that people are paying attention. They do see what's at stake right now. I think
Yes.
the only way that Jasmine could have won, she would have needed maybe a 10% better turnout. She got 30, I think she got like 28, 30. There was
Yes.
5% that voted back in January 31st. She
Mm-hmm.
needed to be somewhere around 35, 40 to pull this off. And I don't think she really got, I don't know the amount of people that got purged out of Dallas County, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't over 130, 40,000. So we got to get better at this. We got to show up even in greater numbers now to make sure this happens. That's really what I hope the message should be. We did have a unity parade here of sorts for
Yeah.
people to really get that to happen.
I agree with you. I'm so glad we spoke about that because my thing was, uh, why did her? My main thing was thinking, why did she not win? Why did she not win this time? And you did talk a lot about what the reasons were. A few of them.
I think there's some misogyny involved in here. I think there's some men who still don't want to vote for women.
Yes.
I'm gonna just call it what it is. We saw that
Exactly.
happen with Kamala, and that needs to stop. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Men who don't see women as being qualified need to just go somewhere and sit down for a minute. This is not the time for that right now. Women are qualified.
Right.
Emphatically, they are
Very.
qualified. In fact, to tell you the truth, amongst all the members of Congress, it was the women that led the way. There were the
Right.
women that were more vocal than anybody. You look at ALC,
Yes.
you look at people like Congresswoman Crockett, and there were just I just go down the list about women that were very, very vocal and very put their lives on the line for us, including our former Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Link, that were really, really out there
Absolutely.
speaking, and it's really, you know, we just got to get past that. We don't have time for that right now. We have time right now to try to save democracy, to save our way of life,
We
and
do.
save the rights and civil rights, the Voting Rights Act that they're trying to take away right now. We need to get behind those women. I will say one thing. I never saw one time, I'm sure it happened. I never saw one time where the other members of Congress got behind. This is my dream. I really wished that she had a press conference with all the male members of Congress behind her to say one by one, if you touch her, you touching my sister. She
Right.
belongs to us.
Right.
I never saw that.
Yes.
I never saw that happen. I think it would have been very, very powerful statement to have the members of the Black Caucus do that on her behalf. But I know Jasmine was getting attacked every week with
Yes, she
who knows
was.
what kind of threats. And I really felt that would have
Yes.
been very powerful. I just didn't see it in the numbers that I needed to see it. And I think courage should be rewarded, not run from.
Absolutely, I agree with that. We're going to jump right in. Christian Menifee and Al Green. That's the U.S. House District 18 that was remapped on
Oh,
that one. I know.
woo.
Both great people. Let's just say that. They're both great people. Okay?
I would say,
Christian Menifee, people don't know, he is sitting until November, and then he will go up again. And they do have it looks like a runoff at this point.
yeah. Um, as a point of personal privilege, I'll just say I have to really admit that I'm still, I was very close to the Congresswoman, as a lot of people know, and worked with her
Right.
several years. And I was actually her media advisor.
Yes, you
For real,
were.
I was. And doing one of the hardest periods of our city's history during COVID. I was with her daily, and to great respect and honor to her, we were under threat every day of dying. There was no vaccine to speak of. We were out there every day during that first year of COVID. We tested over 300,000 people, and vaccinated equal amount of people. And I was very
Yes.
involved with her during that period of time. It was very, very daunting times and very dangerous. And, you know, at the time my father was, you know, getting older and he did pass away a couple of years later. So I had to really put a lot on the line to help her. And I will say I'm still very loyal to her. And I, you know, and also during that period of time, I became very close to the mayor, the then mayor of Houston,
Yeah.
Sylvester, because he was loyal to her. They were like brother and sister. So I would see the mayor and his team 3 to 4 times a week. And so we got to be close. The teams got to be close to get security details. So I think I was in denial about the me being in mourning about that. I carried on, you know, but it was so it's kind of hard. It was a little hard for me to just detach a little bit. So I didn't really get behind either one of them personally, but I definitely was supporting them as 2 viable candidates. I will say that I'm not happy at all about the fact that we got a seat taken from us. Al Green should have his seat. We've got a seat stolen from us. That seat was developed for him to give another more representation in a growing area that was Fort Bend during that period of time, the area where Al is. And also Jasmine's seat got taken away too. So we've lost, that's the bigger picture people should see. We've lost 2 seats in Texas.
Yes.
And the 2 highest markets, the 2 highest population markets that we have, Houston and Dallas. And that's really what people should be looking at right now.
Right.
The election last night, I know it's a hard run. It's hard to lose a race like that for Congresswoman Crockett. And I hate the fact that by January, because of this race, she won't be in Congress anymore. And that's another
big picture. That's the real big picture.
The big, she won't be
no longer be in Congress. And so many people love that. They were talking crazy about it. They love to ridicule that young lady. And she came out fighting. She came out for us. She really
that blows me away that she's not going to be. We've lost a substantial voice that was daily, relentlessly speaking on our behalf, that was courageous and talked down all the lies and the recruit that were going. That hurts me to my core. That she's not representing us. We need that voice. And we need a seasoned voice like Representative Green, who had the courage on several occasions to hold that stand up and say, you know, what he did. And I really love that no one else did it. Those are 2 Texans that have courage. I ain't seen anybody else doing that but him and Jasmine. And so to me, to lose either one of them, it's like, you know, to me, it's like a tragedy. And that's what I'm having to process that right now, that we're going to lose Jasmine and we're going to lose one of either Al or Kristen. And Kristen is a young man that deserves, he's fought for that seat. He spent his resources on that seat. I'd like to see both of them in Congress. And that's very, very tragic to me that's happened. And I really want to caution everybody about this. Is a very, very serious conversation. They're playing 3-dimensional chess on us. We can't afford right now to start going through this whole thing about whoever wins with Christian or Al, we got to get behind them too.
We do.
We can't play these high school who run the SGA. This is not the SGA. This is the Gulf Association. This is for the U.S. Congress. We need to get behind whoever wins. We gotta go to the highest level. If you say you're Christian, we gotta get to that part about forgiveness and about understanding and about being open, about getting behind the person. And with this I've had some problems, you know, in the past about the Democrats here in Houston playing like it's a social club. It's not a social club. This is for all the marbles. There are too many people treating the Democratic Party here, in the party at least, like it's a social club. Like it's a club for you to stand up and say, I'm an elected official. No, you're Democrats and you have representing the people. So we really need to get behind whoever's going to be our representatives and get behind them with all our heart, mind, and soul.
I agree with that. We were going to jump right in. Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Gina Hinojosa.
Greg Abbott got to go.
That's
I can't take it anymore. I can't. This is, you know, I work with I'm gonna give you an example. You've heard me say this story, but I worked with George W. for a whole summer at a summer day camp over there off of McGowan Street, with under Tex Harrison and John White. I think his name was John White. And I spent a whole summer with
Right.
George W. And he was a really nice guy. So when I saw Obama and Michelle, Barack and Michelle being nice to him, I understood why. One-on-one,
Yeah.
George is that guy you would have met in high school that you were friends with. Could play football with him, or baseball,
Right.
or basketball. He's that kind of one-on-one.
Right.
I'm not talking about his people behind him, but one-on-one, just a great guy to be around. And I'm not saying about his policies. I'm talking about one-on-one him. And there are reports that his mother was
Yes.
very nice to people here. And people forget that George W.'s dad was the congressman for one term before they established the 18th congressional district. So I'll just say this: these are not those Republicans. And so there's not to be confused. So to be involved in the Republican Party as a minority, to me, is a travesty. And I think people need to be awakened about that. I don't understand, how some of the African American Republicans can be in that party after all this happened. Miss Hinojosa, if she was on this line right now, I would say, you could do a little bit better reaching out to people here in the community. I didn't feel her presence in our communities as much. Maybe that was strategy, but she too needs to make sure that we all come together and vote together. Because the last time I checked, the governor got about nearly 2 million votes, a little bit over, and she had like 1.3 million or whatever. That don't look too good on the primary. That means you on the pathway to not winning. And we need the governor's seat too. I think we can all kind of we need to have a come to Jesus meeting, so to speak, in the party.
And I was very surprised with that one. I really was. I was very surprised with Gina Hinojosa not getting her Latino votes. She did not get as many as Greg Abbott. I was very surprised about that. Somewhere in their thought process, as well as his African Americans too, but Gina being, I would have thought she would have gotten more. Let's just say it like that. I would have thought she's at 6.
And what was the percentage again? Do you know offhand?
I don't know, but I was looking at it. But he got a substantial amount. He did.
Yeah. Well,
a substantial amount in the rural areas. A lot of the small rural areas, people don't realize those rural areas, they really do go out and vote, and people need to hit those areas.
Texas is a huge state, and Beto wrote a book on how to run for governor. He went to every county in the state, got in his car, and went to work. And if she wants to win this race, she's going to have to replicate some of that in a very, very short period of time. I'm just saying that I didn't feel her. I'm online all the time, as you know. I didn't feel her campaign reaching out to. I didn't feel the sponsored ads. I didn't feel the TV ads the way I should have. I thought it was attack ads on Jasmine. I didn't see hers though. I saw a lot of people's ads. I didn't see hers though. It could have been lack of funds or whatever, but it's time for us to step up the pace a little bit. There are a lot of voters now that are being left on the table. We can't afford that right now. This is really an emergency, right? It's not just an everyday election. It's not. I think people need to stop playing games and stop just needing money to do everything. At some point, you have to be a good American and go out here and fight for our democracy and fight for our way of life. That's what we really should be doing.
I was also saddened by one thing, Preston, and we've talked about this all the time. And I always say that why are some Black Americans that are eligible to vote not voting?
I was at a polling place about a month and a half ago. I was doing some campaign. I was doing some filming for a candidate. I won't name the person, but it was a good candidate. And I was in the parking lot waiting for the candidate to get there, a little campaign spot we were doing. Right. And a lady pulled up next to me, kind of close, and she said, "Am I all right?" And I said, "Oh no, you not too close to me. You do good." So by the time she got back from voting, she said, "I said thank you for your vote. We really need every vote." And she didn't look disheveled. She was nicely dressed and fairly recent car and spoke really well. I mean, nothing about it was different. I mean, she's like somebody could have worked for the city or something, like for the down in administration. She looked at me with a straight face and said, "Now, who's president now? Is it Barack Obama or is it Trump?" I mean, she was honest and didn't know. Right. And what I did do, and I will give myself credit, I didn't look at her in any kind of different way. I
Mm-hmm.
just calmly said to her, I explained to her who was president now, and I explained to her, I asked her what kind of media was she consuming. She said, well, I don't really watch anything. I just kind of like, I just haven't been doing politics. And I was like, well, how'd you vote? 'Cause there were several measures on, there were several amendments on, on the
Right.
ballot. I kind
Right.
of went in, read them, and I said, then I encouraged her to watch MSNBC or CNN for a week straight. I really did MSNBC. So, and she called me back and told me she had did it. And she said she thanked me for doing that. The reason why I brought that up is that there are several people they have totally detached from politics on the
Right.
I don't do politics thing. It's not the
Yeah.
time for that. We got to really start doing better inside our communities to get people to know what's going on. And that's really our main problem right now. We're not reaching out to underserved communities. We're not reaching out to communities that are economically deprived. We're not spending
Right.
enough time with them. We can't practice democracy and close galas and close fundraisers. We got to get out
Right.
there and get the people, and we got to tape it, and we got to go online, and we got to make sure we do live streams and do live videos talking to people. That way we got to create a bigger tent right now. We can't do that if we're just having these closed sessions where only 100 people here, 100 people there hear it. We can't do it like that. I'm calling for it, all that to end. We got to, when you saw those marches with Martin Luther King, and you saw it with that whole period, the early 60s, everybody
Yeah.
was in line. Young kids, poor kids, the garbage workers strikes they had. That was a big tent. We're not doing that now. And that's what the problem is now.
I think the other thing too, and I'm so glad you brought that up, is that we are leaving so many people behind because it is, what does it mean to me? That really is what it is. What does all of this, when somebody looks at me going out, them going out, taking their time out to vote, what does it mean to them? The other thing is what does it mean if they don't have the opportunity to vote, meaning they take the vote away because it's an act. We talk about this all the time. It's not a law for African Americans to vote. It's not, whoever the sitting president can just say, hey, you're not voting anymore. That's it. He can sign it, and he can say that.
There's a kind of a nationwide narcissism that's happened around voting. What's it going to do for me? And I understand that, but it has more to do with just you having your food and gas lower.
Yes.
It's about the collective. It's about the collective. So we've got to the point where it has to always be about me. How's it going to benefit me? What are the gas prices? Well, guess what? During World War II, everything went up. They had a thing called rations, and people were sharing rations, and people understood that a lot of resources were going to the people that were fighting the war in Europe. All of a sudden, now we've gotten soft. So it just can't always be about that. We have to start teaching our young people from their early age the importance of what civil rights is about.
Right.
And the things they take for granted, like being able to go into stores, movie theaters, go and just sit where they want to on see. I mean, what if tomorrow everything just reversed, which was the way it's going now? They're trying to create a white supremacist ethno state here. Imagine when that starts going away more and more, and all of a sudden now you can't do the things you used to do. Ask Renee Good about that. Renee Good was just saying, we're not here to hurt you, dude. And next thing you know, she's shot in the face. She was not trying to hurt that person. They're lying to you over and over again. They're not apologizing about it. And now even a lot of people that were faithful to the Republican Party now are speaking out about that. And they're calling Kristi Noem to the carpet. They're putting people like Stephen Miller on the carpet and saying, you to come down here and testify. So to me, we got to understand what the collective needs to do to help make sure we protect our country and protect our rights. It's not perfect. No one's saying it's perfect. I'm not somebody walking around here with blinders on, but we're getting ready to take the rights we have right now away, and we're getting there. We're not gonna be able to fight for the ones we need to have and continue on, and we have a governor here that's getting by with murder because he's not in a major market like New York. He's not in a market even like Atlanta, the home of CNN. So to me, he's underreported. What he's doing down here in Texas is being underreported.
Right, I agree with that. I do agree with that. And we look at the fact that so many, again, of us, or so many people did not vote and did not go into the vote. But I was I'm like you. I was so excited that the ones did, and they stayed. They stayed even after 7 o'clock. The people that were in line, they were in line for 7, but they continued to stay until they were able to vote, and that was great.
Imagine we had 100,000 more people that did that. That would have been, I
Right.
mean, really, we needed that. I mean, some countries, it's a shame. You're shamed if you don't vote. And I think we need to get to that point. Something's not connecting with the Democratic Party here. And hopefully under new leadership that we have, that message can go out. I don't feel the party in Harris County did enough over a period of time to make sure to bring people into registration is one thing. Getting people to go out and vote another. It's gonna, I mean, it's two different procedures here. You can get somebody to register to vote easy, walk up to HEB. Getting them to
Right.
actually go out and vote, you have to be a stakeholder in your
Yes.
community, a stakeholder, and understand why it's important to have security around the stores, why it's important to have your streets done, why it's important to have health care. Those things, I think what you saw in this last election yesterday was a response to people finally getting the message. More people got the message that we really are in danger right now. They really are trying to take things away and getting in and maybe killing people on the streets and arresting people that are good citizens and sending them off to concentration camps. It's not cool.
Right.
Maybe
It's
that's
not.
not too cool. So I think people were more responding to that and the overwhelming response of influencers, the average everyday people reposting all that content on Facebook and Instagram. I think it really did have I think it really had an impact. I know I'm actively doing that every day. So
Absolutely.
I
Sure.
think that you have to do that. So I want to congratulate the people that were online doing that and making sure that we all know there's an army of us out there. I'm a
Yes.
small part of that, and I really admire those. I think they did more to help get people out than anything. People just not watch. People are not watching legacy media the way they should, and I think what's happened here should be attributed to the work of a lot of really, really great influencers that got the word, and a lot of young people too were doing that. I really want to admit that there were a lot of good people out there really fighting a good fight.
I agree with that. We
Mhm.
had a few of the runoffs. One was in the Harris County Judge. That was Anise Parker and Letitia Plummer, Dr. Letitia Plummer, I should say. They're in a runoff, but that was a good one. Anise Parker was 144,000, Letitia Plummer 113,000, and that really increased. This year seemed like a huge increase from what I've been listening to all through the night and things like that. People were very, very, very engaged.
I will, you know, I'm a little torn behind that. I won't, I won't make it personal, but I'll
Mhm.
just say that a lot of people that could be running right now are not running, and they're
Mhm.
turned off by some of the negativity.
Mhm.
And I think just because you served before doesn't mean you can't serve again.
Mhm.
Um, Mayor Parker brings a lot of experience to the table, but Letitia does too. Okay,
Right. Okay.
so um, again, I would just encourage everybody and all candidates to understand the power of this platform here and the
Right.
power of people hearing your voice. Anise, I didn't see any commercials from Anise, but I think that really at this point, the people I see moving forward are the folks that were more vocal online. The people were consuming, they are making a judgment call about who you are, that they can't make just watching seeing a campaign sign. They can't make
Right.
that judgment about you here getting a robocall. They can get a sense of that when you're talking to somebody, talking to a voter. And I just really feel that more of that should be going on. It shouldn't be about how many precinct judges you have in your pocket or how many signs you have out or how many I don't think the endorser thing I don't think the endorsement thing has as much power as people think. I think a person that's living in Acres Home, a person living over there on Sunnyside or Highland Park, they're not really paying attention to all that. They may not know those people. I think it's really about them getting a sense about who you are as a person. And I think hand to hand, meeting people one on one is a good indicator too. I think Anise probably won on name recognition
Mhm.
and the contest she had developed over the city over a long time. I think that's why she probably won. That's
Okay.
my that's my take on it.
Yeah, and they'll be in a runoff. The thing about it is that May will come up for our runoffs, and then November, of course, we will have the final elections on those. While we're doing that with the Democrats, and we'll just make that blank. What do the Democrats need to do to be strong in any kind of voting? The strong part, because I've heard a lot of people say Democrats aren't as strong as they used to be. Republicans are getting stronger with
Well,
marketing and
we outvoted them, so that's not necessarily. I mean, we outvoted them here in Houston, and by a wide margin. And I think that there needs to be more outreach into areas and with populations of people that they wouldn't normally talk to.
right.
Again, I'm gonna restate again, like a restatement. Again, I watched. I purposely didn't go to any fundraisers. I purposely did not go to any. Some of it's my. I have other stuff going on, but I purposely the ones I could have gone to. I just didn't go to any rallies. I didn't go to any fundraisers. I didn't even want to be. I didn't want to be affected by any of that. I'm an independent thinker about things. I think like a journalist per se. And my grandparents go back to the 100 years of being in journalism. And I really feel like, without that, the party's going to lose its soul. I think the party's becoming too elitist. It's not
Mhm.
elitist inside with the people who care, but it's elitist in terms of the people who are out there not being impacted, not being touched. That's
Mhm.
not the way. Sometimes the old ways are good. People like Craig Washington, people like, especially Mickey Leland, some of the older folks, they really, really were out there talking to people before we had social media. And that means something. And I think that right now in 2026, being able to master all the platforms, including grassroots things, is what you got to do. There's not a lacking of people having talks with the community, and as it maybe a little bit is still that, but there definitely is a
Mhm.
lacking in terms of going into seriously underserved communities. Now, let me give you an example. If you have a door knocking campaign, you're going on knocking on doors. But guess what? Majority of people that have low income people are living in apartments. Did you knock
Yes.
on an apartment? Did you knock on an
Yeah.
apartment door? Did you knock on those? What about those doors? What about crime ridden
Right.
areas? Did you actually have security walking around with you, knocking on some of the most disadvantaged areas where people live in apartments? Did you talk to those people? That's a good example.
Right.
That's a good starting point right there. You're going to meet some good. There's some good people living in some bad areas. Bad meaning
Hmm.
high crime, disadvantaged folks, people that are challenged. Those are neighborhoods we got to really start invading and tell them why. And you'll learn something from talking to those kind of people. You'll meet Miss Johnson, you'll meet somebody, you may be able to even help her while you're doing that. And that's what I saw
Hmm.
Congresswoman Lee do. She was unafraid of going anywhere. And I was with her knocking on proper doors. And it really was amazing
Right.
to see her do that. She was the Michael Jordan of constituent services. There was no,
Yes.
I mean, she was Michael Jordan. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. She would be hard on her staff, but baby, when she got out that car, how you doing, sweetheart? I mean, she was like, she was just, it was amazing to see it. That's why I stayed with her so long. I got a chance to see it, and it was really amazing to see her do that over and over again. I had a really, really good experience with her because I was not on her paid staff, so I had a different relationship with her than most people that said they were on her staff. Well, I wasn't
Mhm.
on a paid staff. I volunteered the whole time. So I got the
Right.
real raw. We had a very, very different relationship than somebody that was being paid by her. We had a very close relationship that was about getting it done when other people wouldn't get it done. There were people on the staff that wouldn't get it done. And I would get it done with her. You know what I mean? So I got
Right.
a chance to really see who she really was. That was an honor to do that, especially coming from the entertainment business like I am, in our, to see that happen. So we got to get back to that. And I think Jasmine would have been on that pathway to get that done. And again, I think it's a travesty we don't have both of them. We wouldn't have a chance to have both of them in Congress, along with Kristen. That's the problem I'm having right now. I'm really torn behind that. Really, it's a bad thing to have that happen.
It is. I was also reading and looking at some things that happened in Dallas, and she was even stating about the fact that just didn't have the opportunity to vote. People were being turned away. And I just want to encourage people, early voting is the key. Early voting is the key for us. It's something going, it just seems like something is going to happen on that day. And they had already said, especially in Harris County, that we weren't going to have a joint primary, meaning that, we were going to have sections where when you said you're a Democrat, you may go into another room. And I saw some more people. They reached out to me and said they had to go into a whole nother room because they were Democrat, or you go into a whole nother room because you're a Republican. And that's what they stated. And they were trying to give people fear on that.
Well, we face another challenge in that the president's I can't call him a president. This present administration's leader is
Yes.
threatening to. He actually said last week. He we have to start understanding to believe him when he says something. He always throws it out there and tests it before he does it. He actually said in the conference, "Oh, is it true? If I have a war, we'll have to have a election." Well, that's
Yeah.
like a playbook from Bibi Netanyahu. I mean, that's how Netanyahu stayed in power all this time. He keeps on declaring wars. Will he? Would he be so that he would declare war to stay in power? I think he would. He just did it. There was no discernible reason why he hadn't spoken of it. Anybody would be able to decipher of why you would attack Iran like that. There was no threat. There was no ability for Iran to threaten us. So why'd you go into the war? It's about oil and
Absolutely.
also take things away from the Epstein file, which the Epstein file, there's 3 million pages of content there that no one's seen. That is horrific, and some of it is getting out. And I've seen some stuff that I wish I'm trying to figure out how I can unsee it. That's some very
Right.
disturbing thing that
Right.
Epstein file. If there had been a Barack or any Democrat doing that, it would have been, oh my God, they would have never quit talking about it. And he's going to try to suspend the elections next November and turn us into a true fascist state. So I want to thank, the people who've been out there protesting, because that's the only thing that's kind of held things together. It's the only thing that's put pressure on these Republicans to push back on him. And I think when they shot that the male nurse and Renee Good in the face like that, they shot him down like it with 6 bullets in the back, like he was a dog, and shot Renee Good in the face. The bomb that blew her head off. That really woke people up. A lot of people got waking up about that, especially our white Anglo brothers got waking up. I said, "Dog, they'll do it to us too." I think it kind of really was a tipping point for them. And a lot of people have made the correct decisions to not go out there and protest because they know we would have been attacked immediately. And so
Mhm.
I understand that. They were waiting for us to go out there and do something to attack us. And the optics of that happening would have been awful. And I think some black people would have gotten killed if we went out there in the numbers. So I support the No Kings marches, and I support that. But I think the upcoming No Kings march need to be everybody. Need to be black, white, Hispanic. Anybody that cares that should be out there marching right now. It's a fine line between democracy and peaceful marching and all, but I would just say aggressive protests in terms of political speak and making sure that everybody's informed. That's the most violent. I would say that's the most aggressive way to make sure that people understand. We got to get aggressive about making sure that people are informed about what's going on daily and have a daily stream going. People actually get to. I mean, if you see something you like that's informing you, repost it. That's how we get the people who don't have money to pay for cable. We live in a different age right now, so that's one of the best ways we can do right now to arm ourselves to make sure that we're armed with correct information, and we make sure they understand how it's going to impact them and their families.
I agree with that. Sir, I thank you so much for everything you have been doing. You are, man, when you tell you he's a political analyst, I call him political analyst. When I call, I say, hey, do you have some numbers? Do you know what's going on? He immediately tells us. Mr.
I
Preston
don't get no
Middleton,
dinner coupon for this or nothing. I don't get a dinner coupon.
what would
Wait a
you
minute.
like to
I'm not.
for
I'm
the
not. I'm
listeners?
not. Where is my? Did you text me that?
What
I'm
would
just.
you like to leave with the listeners?
I want to tell everybody I am also in the comedy industry, so please don't take that wrong. But everybody, I want to encourage everybody to be hopeful. Don't turn negative. We have a lot to do between now and November. It's going to take all of us doing it, and I want to encourage everybody to follow the Cam Hill Show for continued coverage of this and many issues coming up to the table. We need to also support Cam for having the courage to start a show like this and out of his own pocket. Make sure that we support him with by following him and subscribing to his show and making sure to tune in and also to repost it. It's very, very important to support independent media right now. That's where the whole ball game is right now. And let's really get behind Cam and his shows, other shows like this, to make sure that we stay informed going to November. This is the most important period in our country's history right now. So let's make sure we understand that. Okay.
We thank you so much, my friend. I
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
you always. Thank you for giving us that knowledge. And if you don't know, please subscribe to me. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, anything. Don't be careful about my Facebook page, bro. Some things I post on there. But but I appreciate you so much, Preston. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Cam. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Program.